Computer software. Software is a set of programs that give instruction to the computer about the tasks that need to be completed. Hardware does these duties or software instructs the computer on how to do so. On the same hardware, numerous software packages can be loaded to carry out various functions. For example, a user can run a payroll program on the same computer hardware they use to write reports. Software types. Two main categories can be used to classify software. First is system software and the second one is application software. The fundamental operations carried out by the computer are provided by system software. It is required for a computer to operate. Users employ application software to carry out particular tasks. For a particular task, the user can select the suitable application program that offers the required capabilities. The system software interacts with hardware at one end and with application software at the other end, while the application software interacts with the system software and the users of the computer. System software gives the computer its fundamental capabilities. It is necessary for the computer to function. While using a computer, the user is not required to be aware of how the system software works. For example, the system software that comes with the computer when you buy one would also include several device drivers. When you ask to use one of the devices, the related device driver software works with the corresponding hardware component to carry out the request. The user does not need to be aware of the device driver while printing on this printer if the proper device driver, let's say for a specific model of a printer, is installed on the computer. The purposes of system software are: first, to provide basic functionality to the computer. Next is to control computer hardware, and lastly, act as an interface between user, application software, and computer hardware. On the basis of their functionality, system software may be broadly divided into two categories. First is system software for the management and functionality of computer, and system software for the development of the application and other software. System software for the management and functionality of computer relates to the operation of various computer parts, such as the CPU, input and output devices, and etc. System software is necessary to oversee the functions carried out by the computer's parts and any attached devices. It offers assistance for numerous services that the application software requests. The system software for managing a computer and its resources consists of the operating system, device drivers, and system utility software.
System software for management and functionality of a computer. Operating system. An essential component of a computer is the operating system, or called OS. OS serves as the bridge between a computer's users and its hardware. As required by the application software, a various type of applications software make use specific hardware resources of the computer, such as a CPU, I/O devices, and memory. The OS directs and coordinates how many applications, and the users are all users-friendly. Interface make it easier for the computer system's resources to run effectively. The computer's operating system serves as an interface between the hardware and by the users by regulating how applications program are executed. The program that is called always active on a computer is called operating system. Goal of using OS: to control, execute user application programs, to make computer system convenient to use, easily to use, solve problem users, use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. Function of the OS. The operating system is a substantial piece of software with many different parts. Each operating system's components has its own different defined inputs and outputs. Different OS components carry out particular functions to give operating systems overall functions. The key functions of the operating system are: it provides an environment in which users and application softwares can do work. Number 2 is it manages different resources of the computer like the CPU time, manage space, memory space, file storage, I/O devices, and etc. During the use of computer by other programs of user, operating system manage various resources and allocate whenever required efficiently. Number 3 is it control the execution of different programs to prevent occurrence of error. The last is it provides a convenient interface to the user in the form of commands and graphical interface, which facilitates the use efficient of the computer. The process management activities handled by the OS are controlled access to shared resources, file like memory, I/O, and CPU. Second is control execution of application. Third is create, execute, and delete a process. Number 4 is cancel or resume a process. Number 5 is schedule a process. And the last is synchronization, communication, and deadlock handling for processes. Memory management. The activity of memory management handled by the OS are: the first one is allocate memory. The second one is free memory. The third one is reallocate memory to a program when a user block a feed. And the last is keep track of memory usage. File management. The file management tasks included: the first one is create and delete both files directories. The second is provide access to files. The third one is allocate space for files. And the last one is keep back of files and secure files. Device management. The device management tasks handled by the OS are open, close, and write device writer. The second one is communicate, control, and monitor a device driver. Protection of security. OS protects the resources of the system. Users' authentication, file attributes, and read, then write, encryption, and backup of data used by the OS to provide basic protection. User interface or command interpreters. Operating system provides an interface between the computer user and the computer hardware. The user interface and set of commands or a graphical user's interface via which user interacts with the application and the hardware. Types of OS. OS are classified into different types depending on their capability of process. Single user and single tasking, single user and multitasking, multi-users, multi-processing, real-time, and embedded. Single user and single task OS. It is used for single task or standalone computer by a single user. Personal computers are called PC, have single-user operating system called OS. For instance, a document cannot be printed on the printer. Simultaneously, if the computer is revising it, simple operating system called the single-user OS are made to handle a single task at a time. One example of it is the OS is MS-DOS. Single user and multitasking OS. It enables a simultaneous execution of multiple tasks or processes. Varied jobs are with different amounts of the CPU time. This sort of OS is also known as a time sharing of sort, known as the processor changes between processes quickly. For instance, while using word processing software to write an article, the user can play a music on the computer. The user can move the data back and forth across the program while navigating between them. Windows 95 and all subsequent Windows versions are examples of multitasking operating system. Multi-user OS. It is used a computer network to provide simultaneous access by the several users to the same data applications. The users can converse and one another as well. Example of multi-users operating system is included as Linux, UNIX, Windows Server, Windows 7, and later the Windows family of OS. Multiprocessing OS. A single running process can use two or more processors in multiprocessing operating systems. Parallel processing OS is another name for parallel processing that takes place each processors in engage one to two or more tasks at once or a several components of the same task. They utilize a high-speed execution by the boost of computer's power. Multiprocessing operating system includes a Linux, Unix, Windows Server, Windows 7, and late version of Windows 7 family. OS in real time. They made and react to an incident a predetermined amount of time. This operating system can be employed for process control. Processing is complete within the deadline of OS keep tracks of event, pay an impact on how processes are carried out and reacts appropriately. They use unanswered inquiries in fields such as industrial control system, medical imaging system, etc. One real-time operating system is a link or called OS. OS embedded. The ROM and device chassis embedded, they are less resources intensive and unique to a device. These are employment in devices like traffic control system, washing machine, and microwaves. Device driver. Between the software that uses devices and the hardware, a device hardware serves as a translator. In an order to utilize device in acts and intermediate between the hardware and software. Keyboards, mouse, and hard drive, printers, webcams, speakers, microphones, scanners, digital camera, and monitor are the few gadgets frequently attached to a computer. A device rated code and the device driver needs to be installed in a computer for its function properly. For instance, the hard disk driver receives a command to read data and hard disk translate into a format and the hard disk can understand. The manufacturers of the individual device normally provide the device driver software. System utilities. In maintaining the computer or system security, software is needed. To assist and improve a computer application data, system utilize and utilities. Some systems utilize and embedded with the OS, while others might be introduced later. Some systems utilities may come embedded with OS, and others will be added later on. Some examples of system utilities are antivirus utility to scan computer for viruses. Number 2 is data comprehension utility to compress the file. Number 3 is cryptographic utility to encrypt and decrypt files. Number 3 is disk comprehension utility to compress and contents the disk of increasing capacity of the disk. Number 4 is disk partitioning to divide a single drive into multiple logical drives. Each drive is treated as a individual drive has its own file. Number 6 is disk cleaner and to find files and has not been used for a long time. Number 7 is backup utility to make a copy for all information stored to disk. It is also restores and backup contents in case of disk failure. Number 8 is System Profiling Utility provides detailed for information about the software installed in the computer hardware attached into it. And the last of it is the Network Managers, the checkers of the computer network to all log events.
System software for the development of applications and other software provide the services needed for the creation and execution of applications and other software. Software for systems offers the software tools necessary for creating application software. System software also includes the loader, linker, translator, and programming language software, all of which are necessary for the creation of application software. Programming language. A programming language is made up of a set of grammar and vocabulary rules that are used to convey the calculation and task that the computer must complete. Writing a program that regulates computer behavior, properly codifies algorithms, or permit a human-computer interface requires the usage of programming languages. Each language has its own collection of terms or keywords that it recognizes, as well as a particular syntax for arranging programs instructions. Both the computer and the programmer or the person developing the program should be able to understand the programming language, while a programmer is more at ease with language that sounds like English. A computer understands the language of zeros and ones. High-level languages like COBOL, BASIC, Fortran, C, C++, Java, C#, Visual Basic, JavaScript, F#, Python, PHP are typically referred to as programming languages. Machine language. While a computer can understand machine language, it is challenging for humans or to a programmer to comprehend a collection of binary numbers or bits that the computer can read and understand, make up a programmer expressed in machine language. It is a set of data and instruction that the CPU of the computer immediately executes. It is also known as object code or machine code. A string of zeros and ones are used to represent it. Assembly language. Between machine language and high-level language is assembly language. They enable the programmer to change numbers into names. The symbolic representation of the machine codes require to program a certain processor or CPU, or processor family is used in an assembly language application. Lastly, the high-level language. It is simple for the programmer to comprehend and use, but challenging for the computer. A high-level language software is written in a language that resembles English. Such languages are easily transferable between computers and hide the details of CPU operations. Compared to assembly and machine-level languages, a high-level language makes the process of building a program easier and more understandable. Application software. The application software is the program that a user employs to carry out a certain task. A program or collection of programs might be considered application software. Software package refers to a group of applications that are created with a certain purpose and provide the necessary functionality. Application software is created for a variety of uses, including accountancy, graphics, word processing, media players, database applications, telecommunications, and many more. Some examples of application software packages are word processing software for writing letters, reports, documents, etc. Image processing software for assisting in drawing and manipulating graphics. Accounting software for assisting in accounting information, salary, and tax returns. Spreadsheet software used for creating budget, tables, and etc. Presentation software to make presentations and slideshows. Some examples of software having word processor, spreadsheet, and presentation software are MS Office, Google Docs, Sun OpenOffice, and Apple iWork. CAD or CAM software. It helps to assist in architectural design. Geographic Information Systems. It captures, stores, analyzes, manages, and presents data, images, and maps that are linked to different locations. Web browser software. To access the World Wide Web, to search documents, sounds, images, and many more.